because this is the real ear. I start all conversations about hearing with the brain. Don't start with the doorway. I mean, this doorway is important because we got to get through it. But start conversations with the real ear, because everyone needs to get what's at stake here. It's the brain. That's where hearing occurs. That's where we start our conversations. We don't start conversations with the doorway. We do talk about the doorway after we talk about the real ear, which is the brain. We grow brains by accessing, stimulating, and entering data. If a child has a hearing loss, we can only grow their auditory brain centers through their technology. If the technology isn't worn, their brain is not growing. If the technology is not programmed well, their brain is growing garbled. If their hearing loss is changed, and 40% of childhood hearing losses are progressive, expect it, don't be surprised. If you have a sensory neural loss and they also have middle ear fluid through an ear infection, you now have 2 doorway blockages. You've added another doorway problem, which increases the obstruction of sound to the brain. A child's hearing aids are programmed for their sensory neural hearing loss. You add a conductive obstruction and they will no longer hear, or at least hear clearly. That's why audiologists, for those of you who work with children with hearing loss, are your absolute best friends. You can do nothing with today's children without that audiologist. Nothing. Doesn't matter how beautiful your program is, if you don't have great technology, you might as well talk to the floor. And the outcome will not be achieved, and it's not the child's fault. If a child is not progressing as expected, the last problem I look at is that it's the child. The first thing, technology, programmed. Second thing, technology used. Third thing, the richness of the auditory program through the technology. The very last thing is there's something in the child. See, if we start with there's something in the child, that lets everyone off the hook, doesn't it? Not my fault. Yeah, kid can't do it. Start with the technology, because it's just stuff. It's just stuff. Even pacemakers fail, with much greater consequence. Yeah. Stuff, it's stuff. So don't be surprised that it gets corrupted. Don't be surprised. Always check it. And if the family isn't keeping the technology on, if it's family I work with, then that's my fault. I have not explained it well enough. Because it's my job to explain what's at stake if they want a desired outcome of listening and spoken language. And if they aren't wearing the technology and they want that outcome, I haven't explained it well enough. I haven't had a conversation in a kind and compassionate way that they get that their child's brain is what's on the table. So I need to think of other ways to explain it over and over and over from a desired outcome perspective.